We're going to start with the Eastern Conference. Giannis, Antetokounmpo, Jalen Brunson, Cade Cunningham, Tyrese Maxey, Jaylen Brown. First starter is the Joker. Next up, Luka Doncic. And then we have our guy Shea, Steph Curry. It is Victor.
For the first time in LeBron James' legendary career, a run defined by trophies, records, and sustained dominance, the energy around him feels noticeably different. This is no longer about overpowering defenders or defying Father Time with highlight performances. The conversation has shifted entirely, and not shift alone is striking. Around the league, a question is quietly gaining momentum, one that few were willing to voice before. Are we beginning to see the NBA mentally prepare for a future without LeBron James?
Shifted is this new format, which is USA versus the world. And the idea is to have 8 players from the world and 16 players from the USA. However, they're not voting that way. The voting is still Eastern Conference, Western Conference. And the reason for that is, as I always say, team ownership in the East wants an all-star on their team that they can sell tickets for on the back end of the season. So there will always be East-West voting, no matter what format we have. But once you have those East-West pool in and you stick them back all together into one pool, if there aren't 8 international players or if there aren't quite 16 American players, Adam Silver is the one who appoints the final American.
That thought alone sent shockwaves through the basketball world. The shift in tone was immediate and impossible to miss. Across television, podcasts, and group chats, the conversation felt heavier. When Rachel Nichols broke down LeBron's all-star situation and began questioning his future with the Lakers, it no longer sounded like a debate built for clicks. It felt more like a warning sign, as if something serious might be unfolding behind the scenes. Fans sensed it too, like a red flag waving in plain sight, signaling that the King's reign could be nearing its final chapter. Now, the question dominating every timeline and podcast is unavoidable. Are we witnessing LeBron's decline in real time, or have fans already decided it's time to move on to the next?
He hasn't played in 21. He's been appointed to 21, voted into 21 All-Star games. He didn't play last year, and he started in 20 of them, or voted as a starter in 20 of them. And I don't know, one of the reasons I thought this was a big deal when you brought it up last week is, does he use that weekend to announce that he's wrapping up after the season?
That would be interesting, and you've been on that for...
It's that nobody wanted to confront, but now it's right there in front of everyone, whether they like it or not. So what's your take? Drop it in the comments and don't forget to subscribe, because this conversation is only getting louder. Then came the fan votes, and that's where things really took a turn. Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Nikola Jokic were all at the top, which came as no surprise. Those names are almost automatic locks in the All-Star race every year.
Really are voting in the right direction. If you look at who's the top of those lists, they get 50% of the vote, the media gets 25% of the vote, the players get 25% of the vote, but the fan vote's a good indicator, right, on where things are going. I think you've been right when you say the coaches are less likely to put him on the reserves. Just the coaches tend to really reward like insider basketball picks more than they do names. I do think, though, whether it's the coaches or eventually Adam Silver, and we'll get to that in a minute, I think, and the players too, there's an appreciation of LeBron that sometimes the media and fans are so quick to jump into analysis of him and how he's playing. I think there's a lot of players in the league who still, really think, man, what that guy is doing is incredible.
What truly stunned everyone was LeBron's position on that list. For the first time in nearly 2 decades, he was no longer sitting comfortably at the top of the fan voting. Instead, LeBron was barely holding on to a top 10 spot in the Western Conference. That moment forced the entire basketball world to pause because it raised a question nobody ever imagined asking out loud. Is LeBron James still an automatic all-star starter? Rachel Nichols had already poured fuel on the fire a week earlier when she openly said she didn't believe LeBron would be voted in as a starter this season. She then doubled down, even questioning whether he would make the All-Star team at all through the coach's selections. Once that conversation started, there was no shutting it down.
I think it's pretty clear that the Lakers, no matter what happens at the end of the season, no matter how far they get, unless, I guess, they win the title, which is not the most likely outcome.
That defense.
I just don't see him in their plans past this summer. They didn't offer him an extension. They're going to have to give more money to Austin Reeves. They're going to have to beef up the defense. So I just don't think they want to sign a 41.
This is a serious signal that the basketball landscape is shifting right in front of us. Fan voting makes up 50% of the All-Star selection. The media accounts for another 25%, and the players fill in the final 25%. That means if LeBron slips to 7th, 8th, or 9th in fan voting, his chances of starting can disappear very quickly. That idea alone is wild when you really think about it. This is the same player who owned the top spot almost uncontested for nearly 2 decades, and now he's fighting just to stay in the conversation. And when it comes to the coaches, they don't reward memories or past greatness. They reward who is dominating right now, not who built a legendary resume years ago. What really shocked people was how Rachel Nichols reacted when the All-Star numbers were released. She didn't hesitate or sound surprised at all. Instead, she calmly went straight to what she saw as the real issue: availability. LeBron James has missed a significant portion of the season. Whether you call it injuries, rest days, or load management, the result is the same. He hasn't been on the floor consistently night after night. And when a player isn't there regularly putting on a show, it becomes much harder to keep fans fully engaged, no matter how legendary his career has been.
First coming out. They're the usual suspects at the top: Luka Doncic, Giannis, but notably, one LeBron James was down at the bottom of the top 10. I think he was 8th in Western
Seventh or
Conference.
eighth, I think, yeah.
In that range, which leads to the broader question of, will LeBron make the All-Star team? I've been pretty adamant for the last week that he wasn't going to make it.
I was going to say, you've been ahead on this.
I anticipate the All-Star voting to be better for him, but I thought the player vote, or the player vote and the media vote would not be good.
Especially in a league hungry for fresh faces and non-stop highlights, fan attention is more fleeting than ever. While LeBron James' legacy remains untouchable and commands respect, the automatic clicks and votes he once received simply because of his name are starting to fade. Respect alone no longer guarantees votes in this new era. Fans are increasingly rewarding the players who are grinding hardest right now, and they're voting accordingly. LeBron still puts up solid numbers, there's no debate there, but when you actually watch the games, something feels different. Offensively, he can still flip the switch when he wants, but defensively, it's obvious he's pacing himself, saving energy and choosing moments carefully. Fans are noticing every bit of it. Combine that with the missed games, slower rotations, and a Lakers defense that's been inconsistent, and patience starts to wear thin. For the first time, LeBron isn't being treated like an untouchable basketball god. He's being judged by the same standards as every other star. Instead of being firmly locked at the top, he's fighting to stay relevant in the conversation, and that alone shows how much the landscape has shifted. Rachel Nichols pushed the discussion even further, questioning LeBron's actual future with the Lakers. She said flat out that no matter how this season ends, she doesn't see LeBron fitting into the team's long-term plans unless they somehow pull off a championship run. That line hit like a shockwave. Consider this, the front office hasn't even offered LeBron an extension yet, and they're facing huge financial decisions, figuring out how to pay Austin Reeves, reshaping the roster, and fixing a defense that's leaking points every night. The reality is settling in. LeBron's era may be winding down, and the Lakers have tough choices ahead.
Like, if LeBron doesn't make it through traditional methods,
Sure.
would he want that appointment? Remember, he didn't play in the game last year, chalked it up to injuries, what have you. Do you think that he would want a last-minute appointment by the commissioner, or would someone like him say, I don't need it?
I want to go to Cabo, which is
I'd
what
rather
I
go
believe
be
what
on a
he did
banana
last
boat
year.
somewhere and do my thing.
Right.
What do you think? You've covered him for a long time. Do you think he would want that appointment?
I think it really depends on where his head is at in terms of how much longer he's going to play. I think it's pretty clear that the Lakers, no matter what happens at the end of the season, no matter how far they get, unless, I guess, they win the title, which is not the most likely outcome.
That defense.
I just don't see him in their plans for past the summer. They didn't offer him an extension. They're going to have to give more money to Austin Reeves. They're going to have to beef up the defense. So I just don't think they want to sign a 41-year-old for another.
When you put all the pieces together, a stark picture starts to emerge. Dropping a massive contract on a soon-to-be 41-year-old superstar, even one as legendary as LeBron James, may no longer align with the Lakers' long-term vision. It sounds shocking to say out loud, but the purple and gold chapter of LeBron's career might be approaching its final act. This isn't about disrespect. It's about business planning, forward thinking, and preparing for the next generation. With roster constraints, salary cap pressures, and the relentless need to remain competitive, LeBron may no longer fit into the Lakers' blueprint, regardless of his name or legacy. That context makes the recent All-Star voting all the more telling. Fans aren't rushing to crown him automatically anymore. Dropping to 9th in fan voting is a stark signal of shifting energy in the league. Respect for his legacy remains intact, but the excitement has moved toward the next wave of stars. Rachel Nichols pointed out that last season, LeBron withdrew from the All-Star game at the last minute, depriving another player of a chance to shine. That memory lingers. When it comes time to vote again, hesitation quietly creeps in. Will he even show up this time? Despite questions about decline, LeBron still commands immense respect inside the league. 2 decades of elite play, pressure, and physical wear make him the benchmark for many of today's stars. That respect may keep him as an all-star reserve, but the untouchable automatic starter label is fading. The votes, the numbers, and the fan reactions all point in a new direction. Then there's the wild card, Adam Silver. With the new USA vs. World All-Star format, the commissioner can now personally select players to balance the rosters. LeBron could still make the game, not by votes, not by player selections, but by a direct call from Silver himself. That scenario alone shifts the narrative again, one last royal invitation to the All-Star stage. But Rachel Nichols asked the question that cuts deepest. Would LeBron even want that? A player who built his legacy on earning his place might see a commissioner's pick as a slight, a reality check, or even a challenge to his pride. Yet, if this is truly his final season, taking that spot also makes sense. Legends like Jordan, Kobe, and Wade all took their final bows when the moment arrived, under the lights, with a standing ovation. The emotional weight is immense. LeBron has never been unwanted. Every team, every coach, every franchise has revolved around him for 20 straight years. Hearing the Lakers, or any team, signaling a future without him would be personal, not just business. While franchises like the Clippers, Warriors, or even a storybook return to Cleveland could still light the league on fire, every option comes with emotional, financial, and legacy costs. All-Star voting stops feeling like a popularity contest. It becomes a quiet warning, subtle yet impossible to ignore. 9th in fan voting isn't hate, it's a reflection of the league's shift. Basketball is evolving, and for the first time in decades, the NBA is moving forward without automatically revolving around LeBron James. But LeBron has always controlled